Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Circle of the World podcast, where we discuss Joe Abercrombie's first law series. I am one of your hosts, Lord Chamberlain Jeffrey, and here are my co-hosts,
Archlector George,
and Harrison.
We continue our coverage of Last Argument of Kings, the third book in the original trilogy. For this episode, we'll be covering Too Many Knives and Best of Enemies. So, let's get started. We want to, as usual, thank you all. We will thank you until you die.
Thank you.
Thank you again. Yeah, thank you all for your support. You know, all our cool friends and supporters, right? I mean, just
patrons that aren't
patrons. Oh my god, we need to like actually provide something of substance for that.
No, I don't. I mean, we're not gonna talk. I don't want to.
All right, Harry.
Not on the
podcast. Just doing nothing except fucking around with our dicks in our hands. But if you don't mind, people, please follow us on social media and our YouTube page if you don't mind. Alrighty, so we'll just get started with our best meme of the week. George, take it away.
It's fucking Tam El-Bor again. He can't stop.
He can't be stopped.
Yeah, no, the man cannot be stopped. And it's the classic man stood in the corner while everybody else parties with the tag, nobody knows about the first law, which is absolutely true because absolutely everyone I know that reads fantasy doesn't read Joe Abercrombie. So, yeah, I empathize deeply with that.
Alrighty, well, thank you for that, George. That was a pretty good meme. All right, so we'll start off with so we start off with our first chapter read through, which again is Too Many Knives, and we start off with Logan Nine Fingers' perspective. We are back with our boy, and he is on the right flank. I guess him and the men that he's with, their purpose is to screen against Bethod's, outriders, scouts, what have you. And he's, looking around nervous. He's nervous about possibly being led into an ambush, or if Crummicky Fail is a fuckhead, nut job, all the above, just everything. And he's just, he's kind of like got to a point where he's like just squatting, just chilling, drinking some water. And he's like watching the men as they're, passing by. And then one guy pulls away from the men, and he starts walking towards Logan with a big smile on his face. And Logan's like, don't know.
Oh my god, I'm gonna have to kill this motherfucker.
He's like, I don't know about this guy here. So Logan kind of, he turns his body sideways apparently, just so like one of his hands is out of view, and like gets ready to grab a knife. And the guy comes up to him and he's like, hey, my name's Red Hat. And I was like, wonder why. I guess does he even describe him having like a red hood or anything? I don't see that.
That's just his name. I don't think he ever actually is pictured with a red hat. That's just his name.
No, he does. He does.
He is later.
Does he?
Yeah. I guess that's just later, but
I know, but he I don't. Wait a minute. Does he always have the hood that's brought up later? Like that's like his thing. It's like wearing. No one mentions the fact that he has like a fucking ball cap on with just red.
What if he has to get a new one and it's not red? Does he like take it down to the stream and like dye it red?
I have to maintain my character.
Yeah.
And then he's probably like, I used to be known as Red Hat, now I'm Red Hood, but that was already his name. So. He's like Jonas Clover, where he's like, I'm not that man anymore. I'm Red
Hood. You can't name drop that far ahead, goddammit.
Oh, it'll be fine. Somebody will know eventually who he is. It's not like I'm using another name that's already known.
Yeah, like Gandalf.
Oh, what?
Anyway, so the guy introduces himself as, hey, my name's Red Hat. And Logan, immediately in his mind, he's like, all right, did I kill a Red Hat? Did I kill somebody? Like, is he a family member of somebody that I must have murdered? Like, he's just going through all the lists, and he couldn't even, like, keep track. And he's like, I don't really recognize the name. He's like, you probably shouldn't either. I fought for Old Man Y'all way back then, I guess. And apparently he's a guy that was mutually respected. And then when he died, Red Hat fought with Little Bone. And I guess both Logan and Red Hat not too big fans of Little Bone. So then that's when he decided to, I guess, once he heard Three Trees and Dogman were against Bethod, that's when he decided to come on over. And then he said that, I guess he's just shooting the shit with Logan. He's like, you think Bethod's following us? He's like, maybe he is, maybe he's not. Don't know yet. We'll see. Talk about the Union. And then Red Hat's like, all right, well, anyway, I just wanted to say that, he was in a battle at Innerwood.
A lot of the names, the northern names, just sound like it's like you're saying in the woods.
So what is that, like? What, Welsh?
No, it's just like a joke, isn't it? Like you couldn't be asked coming up with a place name, so you just called it, in the woods.
Innerwood. Okay.
Yeah. Well, where have you been? In the wood.
I will say though, a lot of names are just simple names of places. Like it could be like something super elaborate, and then you translate it, and then you backlog it, and it's just House on Hill or something like that. So maybe it actually is Innerwood because that town or city or that place was just inside of a wood, so they just named it Innerwood.
Yeah, very possible, very possible. And Red Hat was saying he was on the other side of Logan, I guess, at that battle, and he saw him fight, and he was like, I stayed the fuck away from that. I'll say that. But I've never seen anything like it or since then. And I just want to say that I'm happy that you're with us. Real happy. And Logan's just like, huh? Really? All right. All right. Cool. Yeah, cool.
It's kind of
still doesn't take his hand off that knife.
Yeah, no, he's like,
He is like, as soon as Red Hat comes up, he's like, I'm gonna have to kill this guy. And then after he starts talking to him, he's like, I think I'm gonna have to kill this guy. And then he's like, he's giving really short answers. He's like, yep, I didn't like him. And then Red Hat's like, yeah, and then I did this, and I was working with this guy, and I saw you at the battle, and he's like talking to him, and Logan's like, right, like really curt. And then he says, just want to let you know, I like that you're on our side. It's good having you around. And he's like, he's gonna stab me in the back.
The old "you're happy I'm on your side" trick, eh?
Yeah.
Oh shit. So anyway, yeah, Red Hat's like, yep, well, that's all I wanted to say. I'll see you later then. He's like, all right. And then Logan's like, okay, odd. And then Logan starts having a bit of like not an existential crisis, but I guess close to one, where he's like really second guessing his decision to come to the North. He's an idiot. Should have never let go of Pharaoh. He like how many good things have been offered to him in his life, and he just turned it down like a fucking moron. And then
I like how he's thinking about this when it wasn't really his choice.
Yeah, it was
because Pharaoh kind of just fucked off.
I think that he absolutely had a choice. Yeah, Pharaoh fucked off. Yeah, he maybe could have gone with her, but like
he could have pushed.
He could have pushed more. He could have expressed himself. Like Logan's been married.
That's the word.
Honestly, if you think about it, Pharaoh really has never had a healthy relationship. But Logan was married and had children and was raised in a seemingly fairly strong family. Logan knows how to love somebody. Knows how to communicate.
Yeah,
he does it all the time, and he chose not to with Pharaoh.
Okay.
Because he was, maybe not wanting to go back to the North, but he wasn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Plus, he could have hung out with Giselle, too.
Yeah, he could have just stayed. Yeah, he could have done anything else. And he's like, I'm just going to go back up north, I guess. And now he's not. And now he's back up north. Now he's bitching about it. God damn it, Logan. Come on. Get it together. And then as he's like seething over all this, his own choices, which, right at this point, he is mad at himself. He is. So that's some sort of self-reflection. We just hear a voice, it's like, hey, I wish you didn't come back at all. And then it's Tol Duru. And he's like, yeah, you're right. And then they both sit down next to each other. And Tol says something he says, even he finds his own name very heavy burden to carry. he's like, I can't even imagine what it's like to have your name. So, and Logan's like, yeah, it could be a bit of a burden.
Yeah.
And then Toll's like, yeah. And then he, as watching the men, like they're moving past them. He's like, don't worry about them either. They'll get used to you. And if not, at the very least, you can always count on Black Dow's smile, right? And then they start laughing about, which is great. He's like, they start talking about like, he has a smile that lights up the whole day. And then, and then Toll hands him like a canteen of water, and then he says, "I'm sorry," and he's like, "What? For what?" And then Toll's like, that we didn't look for you, when we thought you were dead after you went over the cliff. And Logan's like, well, don't. There's no big deal, like no grudge there because I should have looked for you, essentially. So
He said, if anything, I should have looked for you.
yeah, and then it's like, I guess you stop hoping after a while. Life teaches you to expect the worst. And then Logan obviously says, you have to be realistic, I reckon. And then he's like, well, isn't it, like back to usual, right? Back to war and terrible food and just creeping through the woods and everything. They're just laughing. They're basically just like laughing with each other, So, and that's nice. And then after a little bit of a moment, Logan says, he didn't want this. And I guess when he says he doesn't want this, he's talking about, I guess, just everything that's led up to that point.
Oh, in the war and the situation in general, like.
Yeah, especially yeah. I mean, obviously, but like think about it, like he didn't want like. I'm assuming what his name has given him has brought him.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm thinking.
But then Toll turns around and slaps him with, "Yeah, but we probably deserve it, don't we?"
Yeah, and then he says, "If you need to talk, I'm around." So at least Toll is like a early form of therapist of some kind. At least for First Law series.
I think he's just a good guy.
He is a good guy. He's such a good guy. He's such a bro, right?
Toll's the bro.
Mm-hmm. And Logan reflects on this. He says, that Toll's a good man, a man that can be trusted. And there's a few of them left. Toll, Grim, Dogman, and he says blacked out too in his own way. And it almost gave Logan some hope. And then he sees Shivers, and he's like, never mind. Because Shivers is just staring at his ass, and Logan has to look back at him. He has to stare back at him. He can't like look away like no little bitch. And until Shivers goes away into the woods along with the rest of the men. And then I like the ending sentence here is like, you can never have too many knives, his father had told him, unless they're pointed at you and by people who don't like you much. And that's the end of our chapter here. So what do you guys like about this chapter? How do you rate it?
I am going to rate it an 8 out of 9.
Ooh, interesting.
I know it's a short chapter.
That's a very high score, Harrison.
I know it's a short one, but this chapter has like such a good parallel to Logan's entire story, and it sets up some like minor sub things, mostly for Logan, all in like a tiny short space of time, and you don't really appreciate it until you read the story again. Because then when you read it again, you realize how this sets up everything so perfectly. So he enters the conversation, or he enters the scene with him watching everybody from a distance, being like, "Ooh, I don't know about this. I don't trust this." And then Red Hat comes up, and he's even more trusting, despite Red Hat being fully honest and doing something that nobody else in that entire group would do, which is just approach the Buddy Nine, who they all think is a savage murderer, and be like, "Hey, I want you to know that we're good. I like that you're on my side," because they can tell the way he sees them. I mean, they're not idiots. They know that Logan's watching them, like they're all gonna kill him. So he goes out of his way to do that, and Logan doesn't think about that at all. He's just thinking about the threat, which fair enough. And then Tol Daruk comes up and is like, "Hey," and then Logan completely relaxes. We get to see the side of Logan that obviously he developed in their time away from everybody else, like in the wilderness. Maybe that's why everybody's kind of cool with him, because he became a better person. And then that same person that he became with Pharaoh and Giselle and stuff. And he's all relaxed and chill. He's still kind of grim, but Tol Daruk's like, "It's gonna be all right, buddy." And he's like, "Oh yeah, there's still some good people out there." and he starts having some hope again. And he looks back into the crowd, and as soon as he's reminded of anything that might resemble possible violence or threat, he immediately jumps back into, nope, never gonna change. Everything's exactly the same. Oh my god, oh my, it's just just sleep on the water. He just collapses like in a really subtle way right back into that. Like he's got this hope for humanity, which he uses to reflect hope on himself. And he just reflects whatever comes at him. He joined war, he reflects it off, and then says, "It wasn't my fault." And I just think that this chapter is so good for his character, like especially on a read through, that you are like, I don't know, just there's so much of Logan's character showing here, both in how he acts and the way he talks and the different sides of him, and a little bit of history on him. I just think it's like one of the best Logan chapters.
Well, damn, I was going to give it a 3, but I've just been just completely destroyed there. God damn, Harrison.
Stick with your guns, George. Go ahead. Give it the score you want.
I was just going to say it's a short chapter and there's not much to it, but I'm just thinking about what he's just said, and it's just all true.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to have to agree with him. We're going to go with an 8 as well.
Wow.
I so swayed the minds of many.
Jesus.
That was so good.
I mean, for all those reasons, I was going to give it I don't know, what you would consider to be a good score or not. I'm going to give it a 6 and a knuckle. I thought it was, just because of the length. I thought it was a good chapter. It was a very good chapter. Like the insight into Logan, yeah. I mean, I really have nothing to add, considering like everything you just went on a tangent about, which is great. Not a bad tangent, good tangent, But but George, come on, man, you couldn't give your own unique score.
Oh my god!
I'm just trying to foment like discord,
We don't. I know you've been watching Supernatural, but we don't need contrived conflicts.
Ooh, fucking shade thrown there.
Damn.
That's real character conflict. Fuck you, Jeff.
I'm gonna insult you in a little bit. You wait. I'm gonna get you. A little bit of a switcheroo here, but we'll be moving on to our community interaction segment now. Harrison, you want to take it away? You little bitch.
I shall. What?
You little bitch.
So, spoilers ahead. We are going to start saying spoilers. I thought the boys had put spoilers. Maybe not, though. So, sorry for anybody like that. Anyways, so I thought this is interesting. I saw somebody mention something about this, and this has been done kind of before, maybe not so officially. But 35 minutes ago, as of Friday, somebody, user day Ira _Ira is put up a bracket of fighters, and it's got quite a few fighters. She said, "Here's a fully randomized fighter bracket." Now, something to keep in mind, I think this stuff is really cool just for community interaction, which is why we're highlighting it. So, if you are interested in a bracket, and I think this is probably vote based, so you can get involved, I'm sure. But they left out Logan because of his possible supernatural. He's been declared supernatural, which if somebody wants to argue that's cool, because he is, once he goes in the Bloody Nine Note, he's like unkillable basically. So that's fair enough. But they did leave in Brimid and Gorse, which also wipes the floor with everybody. Which is
there's a lot of one-sided matchups here, I think. But like you said, it's random. So
it is cool that somebody is taking the time to make a bracket here. But I think that overall, it's pretty cool that they are put together something like this. Like they definitely put effort into it to make it look nice and neat, and to have different groups of people, not just all Northerners, or not just the absolute best. So I do appreciate that. But as for the bracket, are you guys looking at it as well?
Yeah, sure.
First up, which is I think is one of the most interesting ones, is Column West versus Stour Nightfall. Which Column West, in his prime, when he first beat in the match, was able to get one tap on Glockta not trying, and that And yeah, he can be pretty rough, but I think everyone's gonna be mad at this. But I really think that Stour would win because he's
Yeah.
actually a really good swordsman. Like
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Stour would win that. Yeah.
Okay, so next up we have General Ganmark and Giselle Dan Luthar, which I think Ganmark. Ganmark gonna be slapped.
Ganmark gonna peg his ass more than one way. I'll tell you that right now.
Then Orso or Galacta.
Come on, that's just fucking murder.
Yeah, that's murder. Yeah.
Straight up murder.
We have the greatest swordsman the Union has ever known in his prime. We're talking about, I'm assuming, right? Versus a man who is pudgy and like has trouble like balancing an egg to breakfast in bed, whatever. You know what I mean? Come on, it ain't happening.
Well, Orso definitely was trained and he definitely knew how to use a sword, but he's not nowhere near this.
Bro, no, come on.
And there's the Luthar family's wiped out from this competition in one fell swoop.
Oh, okay. Next, Harrison.
We have Scale and Rud 3 trees.
Ooh,
which
that's a hard one.
That is a hard one.
I think if we're judging by the characters they have on here, judging except for maybe one person, I think this is them in their prime, or at least that's how we see them. And I think 3 trees.
I would have to say it would, but it would be a good fight though.
It would be a good fight. Scale is definitely no pushover, but he also gets pushed over by everybody who fights him. So
yeah,
that's true. You're right. Mm-hmm.
He just fights the 2 greatest fighters in the entire series, and then gets dick stomped. Everyone's like, "Man, Scale's such a loser." After he gets all overweight and stuff, I'm like, "Is he though? If you were beaten twice, like absolutely trounced on."
Oh, true. You're right. True.
And then we have Leo versus Krummicky Phil.
I'm going Krummick on this one. I'm sorry. I'm going Krummick.
What do you think, George?
I don't know. It's interesting because it's just the fighting styles are so completely different.
Yeah.
And obviously, they both love fighting about as much as each other, I think.
Right. Yeah. So let's think about it like this way. In his prime, right? So we're talking about even before he got the cut on his leg against Stour, right? Where he developed that limp. So in his prime, Leo Dan Brock is still Leo Dan Cock in the head with all these like fantastical notions, right? You know.
Well, he's so good at fighting, though. He's good at fighting, right?
But I can just imagine him Krummick like pulling a fast one and like just crushing him with a hammer, like
yeah. Or just like meeting Krummick, he's gonna be like, what?
Okay, that's true. I guess in terms of skill level, I would give it to Leo, but in terms of the actual fight, you're right.
You know what? You'd say skill level, but Krummick's been fighting against Bethov for 12 years. He's got all these men's ears and fingers as a necklace. He can carry a hammer like no one's business. It's almost his.
I'm not saying he's not experienced. I'm just saying like in terms of like skill, like in terms of swordsmanship and shit.
But as a training fighter, I'll tell you that right now. Skill only matters if you actually got experience.
Right. This is why Krummick wins the match.
Oh, okay. So you agree? Okay, cool.
I do agree. I was just saying that I think Leo has more skill, but Krummick has the experience, and it's Krummick. You feel you're right, so he would win.
I think so. I mean, anyone wants to disagree, feel free.
I said that earlier.
Well, whatever.
You
I'm reiterating it. Did you also reiterate that this person at the post it put "Circle the World Fight" like that? This is not us. We do not sponsor this.
We're not affiliated in any way.
I don't know this. I don't know this motherfucker.
Aren't we affiliating ourselves by doing this bracket and going down the list?
You right, man. Fuck this guy.
We are.
I don't want to do it anymore.
We support you.
Oh yeah, you're right. All right, fine. We support him. Fine.
Next up we have Downside and Vermouth and Gorst. Yeah, we all know that one. Sorry, Downside.
We hardly knew ye, Downside.
We have Friendly and Shiloh Vitari.
Ooh,
which is a good one. But I think Friendly.
You think Friendly?
Really,
I think I'm going Vitari.
The reason why I think Friendly, George, go ahead if you have any thoughts.
No, go ahead.
He's gonna play the fence.
The reason I think, motherfucker, I think Friendly because everybody, like, he fights Shivers, who has an axe and a shield. He fights him with knives, fighting backwards. At some point, he goes upstairs, and he is actually, like, he does more damage to Shivers than Shivers does to him. He's cutting him the whole time. He's moving out of his way. So you could say what you will about Shivers, but he's a good fighter, period. And I don't think that Shiloh could beat Shivers. And if in this particular case, if Friendly is able to keep up and match, at the very least match Shivers, I think that Friendly would beat Shiloh.
I think you're right. I think Vitara is like a very formidable kind of like fighter, but Friendly is just a killing machine. Like that's all he does. He just fucking kills, and that's it.
I guess where I'm coming from is like Vitari is like a good, like I imagine like a great assassin. But I guess if we're talking about straight up battle, okay, all right, then I rescind my choice. All right, good discussion there. Good one, Harrison. Good one there. All right.
Oh, and what do you say about? And then we have Harding, Grim, and Wonderful.
Grim, come on.
Well, I don't think it's completely over with, but yeah, I think Harding.
Okay.
I don't think it's like there's no chance.
Yeah. It's Grim, right, George?
I don't know.
We've never seen Wonderful fight. Harding Grim is like he was said to be.
Haven't we?
One of the. We saw her. In the Heroes, but like I don't remember reading anything about like her battle prowess. And either way, Grim dueled with the Bloody Nine. Enough said. Enough said.
What, George? Hey, stop it, Jeffrey. You're a bully. What do you?
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, what do you think, George? What are your thoughts?
I'm telling George. Go ahead.
Fucking, I don't know. I'm trying to think back to when I read the Heroes last. She did defeat those fucking bandits like all by herself, didn't she?
What bandits?
That's like how she got. That's how she got her name, because like some bandits came into a town and she like took them out and hogtied them. And
yeah.
Three Trees comes in. It's like wonderful, strange having a woman in charge.
Sharp Ends, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that was in Heroes.
No, that was in the Heroes. Yeah.
Oh, that was in the Heroes. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm forgetting.
So I don't know. I think that's fair. I think it's because Grimm's so mysterious. You don't know anything about him. It's hard to judge.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, and I don't think that a lot of the guys who fought Logan I think they're great. Obviously, the legendary fighters, but I don't think they're like, they're as good as Logan. So I think Wonderful definitely has a chance, but I think Grim. Jonas, Clover, and Stranger Come Knocking. If we're talking about, even if we consider Jonas being in his prime, which I don't think that's what it means because it says Clover. I'm gonna say Stranger Come Knocking.
Yeah, Stranger.
I mean, he's meant to be like 9 foot tall or something stupid.
Yeah, yeah. I think I'm taking Stranger Come Fucking. So.
Stranger Come Cocking. Fucking, what does Black Dow say in the Heroes?
No, he says that Stranger Come Fucking.
We have an interesting one: Frost versus Nikomo Casca.
Ooh. Wait, but Frost don't fight with no weapons normally, though.
Yeah, no, he doesn't. But say he does, I think Casca wins. Especially if we're talking about Prime, especially if we are.
Yeah, I think
Casca's
so.
pretty good.
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, Frost gets killed by Glockter with the fucking sword.
True. Yeah. Right.
He gets killed. Costa at his prime, maybe. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Glamour Golden or
Isern?
Or Isern fail. Sorry, Isern.
Yeah, I think Glamour.
I love you, Isern, but I think Glamour Golden wins.
Yeah, I think Glamour. Yeah, Glamour takes it for sure. George.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay.
We have Savion and Black Dow.
My boy Black Dow.
Fucking Savion.
Fucking Savion?
He's in it for like 5 minutes.
Oh yeah,
Savian's good with a fucking bow.
yeah, he's good with the bow.
He's gonna always have a crossbow like nearby, but
Yeah,
apart
yeah.
from that, it's like doesn't really fight that much.
Yeah, I'm sure he definitely is like hardened veteran. Like he could take on a couple dudes, but I mean, Black Dow is like, yeah,
He's fucking blacked out.
fucking
Black
Black
Dow,
Dow.
yeah. Made Logan shit his pants, so fuck that.
Next we have, this is interesting, Gun Abroad or Where to New?
What did you say?
Where to know?
Where
Where to
yeah,
do
where to
or-
know? Where to know? He said where to do? He said what to do?
Where to do?
Where to know?
What to do, my dude?
What?
That's what you said. I'm taking the W, man. Where to know?
What? We see Broad kill like fucking 50 dudes in like 10 minutes.
Werner is a fucking dragon person dude thingy.
Naked dragon person,
and-
man.
Jeffrey, we talked about this before we started. This is one thing we didn't mention is I imagine a lot of people are going to pick this off of people they want to win, which totally cool. No issue with that. But here at the Circle of the War podcast, we did try to be objective for the viewer's sake.
I'm trying.
Wait.
No, I'm trying. All right, here's why. Gunnar Broad is a violence addicted, PTSD, whatever, rattled union officer, right? Werder has, for all we know, like we don't know much about him, but I'm getting the feeling this dude is supernatural in a certain kind of way. He must be long lived, right? Dude, in the Red Country, the man, I don't know how to explain it. You see Gunnar Broad killing a lot of people, but he kills a lot of goofballs. Like,
That's true.
right?
Yeah.
Who does Gunnar Broad kill, like, on a level of skill? I will wait.
Yeah, so I actually think I agree with you, Jeff.
Thank you.
I do think Gunnar Broad is not a pushover, and I do think when it comes to like normal people, he's like really good at taking on a big group of ordinary people, like multiple opponents, like expert, like better than a lot of people.
Yeah.
But when it comes to any of these people on this list, almost any of them, I don't think he's against the real fighters going to stand a chance. Because Werdenor was fighting. He fought Logan pretty effectively.
Yeah.
Even if Logan was older,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone inside of the Dragon people said, like, you don't fuck with Werdenor.
Yeah.
He fucks you up.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
All right. So, bye, Broad, you bitch.
Oh my god! Damn it, Jeffrey.
Jeffrey's feeling spicy this evening.
Oh yeah.
We're almost done. Taldaru Thunderhead versus. I'm sorry, General. Not Lieutenant. General Jalanor.
Oh, good
That
lord.
changes things. He still loses.
Yeah. He's
Him and his whole army.
Tolduru.
Because I think Totoro still wins.
Yeah, Tolduru. Fucking. I mean, this was randomized. You said, right, Harrison?
Yeah.
Yeah. Jesus Christ, that is a.
I'm pretty sure Jalenholm is the only character that never fights.
No, he does.
Do we see him fight?
In the Heroes.
Well, actually, physically
you're right, he
fight,
does.
or is he just there?
No, he does. Remember, he fights Kernan Craw and beats Kernan Craw.
No.
It's true.
He fights Black Dow, and he's just swinging his sword over and over and over again, and then Black Dow is like blocking it to his knees, and then Kernan Craw comes and saves and stabs Jalan.
Oh, that's right. I remember. You're right. I remember him like doing way better than you'd expect. Like Jalan runs up there and he fucking is beating Black Dow's ass. You're like, whoa.
Yeah, but it was just like if you go back to it, he's just swinging that sword like.
Yeah, I think it was like just martyrdom at that point.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Then we have the Dogman or Call Shivers.
Oh,
sorry, Dogman. I love you. But...
Yeah. I think
Call Shivers may not be as good as some people think, but he's definitely better than that.
Yeah, Shivers has got to take it. Damn. This is that was. Sorry, Dogman.
Then we have Weir Nabli or Monskara Mercato. Yeah, Monza, you were pretty good in your prime. Even if we take that in consideration, sorry. We love you, Monza, very dearly, but We're in a Bly is. We don't like to say it, but We're in a Bly is better.
He's better than Monza. I'll give him that. I will say this random generator. I will say on behalf of our female audience that this is a sexist generator. All the females, all the ladies.
Yeah, where's Pharaoh?
Yeah, where's Pharaoh?
Hey, it's random, guys. Everyone chill the fuck out. Everyone chill out.
Put in
All right,
Jack.
guys, we're moving on. Due to violence, we are moving on from
All right. Well, thank you for that, Harrison. That was a fun one, actually. Thank you again for that, Harrison. So we'll move on to our second chapter read through, Best of Enemies, and we start with one of our favorites, A Dream of Glocta's. Was that you, George?
Yeah, I love this fucking chapter. I love the dreams that Glocta has in general, but this is where they start to go from, oh, these could actually be dreams, to what the fuck is going on here?
Do you want to cover this little segment?
Yeah, go for it.
Go for it.
Go on. It starts out as like your regular fucking, he's having like a stress dream. You know, he's got 1,000 papers on his fucking desk and he's like, oh my God, there's so many. I can't keep signing them. And they just keep going and going and going and going and going. And it's like, what the fuck? And then all of a sudden the air gets very cold and he's talking to somebody, but he doesn't actually like describe anybody, which is really creepy. And if anybody's ever had sleep paralysis before, this is quite familiar. So yeah, that's pretty fucking creepy. And then it goes into stuff with Baez and the Maker and what's happening here and where's the seed, cripple? The seed.
The seed!
And Glocks is like, well, fucking Baez has got it. And it's like, well, if Baez had it, I'd know where it is. And it's like, what the fuck is going on here? This is genuine weird shit going on. And then he wakes up.
I love the way you describe that, George.
It's true.
I know, the way you just broke it down was so perfect. It really is like going from, okay, this is another Glocta dream to, wait a minute, how does this dream figure know that if they had it by, what, that's not a dream? And then you're like, wait a minute, if it's not a dream, he's back in Agua, which is where he first had it. You get hear investigative music in your head, and you start trying to figure it all out, and you're like, what's going on? I've got to figure it out.
Yeah, it's definitely a compelling sort of because Glocta's dreams have been escalating since they started in the Blade itself, and they were relatively tame. You know, the kind of things that you would kind of dream about, and then slowly over time they get more and more disturbed until they kind of like break the line between dreams and reality, and it's just like it's good. It's a good 3-line all the way through the trilogy.
And then obviously Glocta wakes up from his dream, panicking as usual, and he's like, "Oh fuck, it was just a dream."
Did he shit in the bed again? Bottom!
Bottom! And then he's like, "Ah, shit, that's right. The king is dead. We gotta vote for a new one tomorrow." And so that's tomorrow. But today, he's in the office of the Archlector, our boy, your boy, George. And they're staring at the bulletin board full of papers, and Archlector Sol is not looking his best. You know, normally our man is prim and proper, not a hair out of place. His white coat is scrubbed and shiny, and that's just not the case.
75.
Yeah, he's just like standing around like in a fever, like just repeated numbers over and over. Isha has 48, Brock has 75, 75, and it's just like, what the fuck? He's losing his marbles.
Yeah, and then Glocta takes this time. He goes, and Salta's like, "Do you have something to contribute?" And he's like, "Oh, I received some, some troubling information. So apparently it's been said that the Gurkish are preparing to invade us." And then Sultan's like, "Huh?" And then Goyle's like, "Invade? What?" And then he's like, "Well, it's not the first time I've been told that they have a fleet. They built it in secret after the first war. We should probably start making some preparations just in case if they do come." And then or Salt is like, and what if you're wrong? Where did this information come from? And he's just like shutting Glockta down each and every sentence, and then Glockta's just like, I'm just gonna shut the fuck up.
Yeah, and I love the kind of ship imagery that he has in his inner monologue. As he's saying it, he's like, the waves swamp the deck. The torn sailcloth flaps in the gale, and it's just like, oh, this hasn't worked.
Yeah. And so then after Glockta kind of shuts his trap, and then Salt's like, fuck. We have the Inquisition has 31 votes. Morovia has over 20. Not enough to make up a difference. They don't have nowhere near enough. And then Glockta speaks up again, and he's like, well, we came to an understanding with High Justice Morovia, and then it was like, skrrr, like a record scratcher.
And Goyle's like, where's Morovia?
Salt is like, an understanding?
An understanding, Glockta.
And then Glockta's like, I said that out loud? Oh, no.
And he actually manages to get out like a full sentence, and he explains why Morovia is probably the best person to side with, because they've got the least amount of votes, but together they actually have a chance. And Goyle starts going, join forces with that peasant-loving hypocrite.
Shut up, Goyle!
Shut up, Goyle!
Yeah, Salt's like, shut up. And he just stares. Go ahead.
I love that Goyle. It's just like I said it before. How he's such like a henchman.
Yeah.
It's just so ridiculous. No, but like the Lord is gonna be like not gonna listen to anybody's. It seems like his henchman has his ear, and as soon as somebody mentions a better idea, the henchman's like, "No, that's a terrible idea. Cause that's not my idea." And then the Lord is just like, "Shut up! I don't need you. Shut the fuck up."
Yeah, Goyle's a dick rider for sure. And then so Salt considers it, and he's like, you know what? You're right. Go ahead and speak to him. And, and then Goyle's like, but your eminence. He's just confused. But Salt, he's smart. He's like, the time for pride has passed. So we gotta, anything we could do, keep Brock and everybody else off that throne. So he's like, don't trust Morovia, but just strike a deal with him. And so then he's like, okay, I'll do that. And then a little bit of a time jump, we get to Morovia's office, and it's a big office, right? Glockta says it's as big as a barn, and there's documents everywhere. Morovia, a tireless champion of the people, hard at work, apparently. And he's apparently taking lunch while Superior Glockta comes to visit him, and he's eating a nice haunch of bloody meat. And he offers Glockta some. And Glockta's like, yeah, I can't because, no teeth. But thanks.
Thanks.
Appreciate you. He's like, I appreciate you. And then so then Morovia is like, so what how can I help you? What do I owe this visit for? What's up? You got some did you come by yourself, or did Salt send you? Like, what's going on? And he's like, well, Salt knows that I'm here. I'll just be honest. This whole thing, has been this whole thing's been terrible for business. The uncertainty, the worry, all that jazz. As you know, we're right. So basically, all right. So Glock is hitting all the basics. That the situation sucks. It sucks for anyone that's on the closed council, especially if someone like Brock gets voted in, or Isher, because they're noblemen. They have no pleasant feelings towards the closed council, especially after the whole Mercer, like the guild of merchants, that whole debacle.
Mm-hmm.
You're right.
Both of them, right? Both the guilds got
The
taken
Feisters
down.
and the Mercers, I think, right? Yep. Yeah, and and so no one's job is gonna be safe from the closed council if one of those guys gets in. But if obviously Morovia controls anywhere from 20 to 30 votes, and we know our selector has 31. If they were to pull their resources together instead of opposing each other as always, then then enough to make a difference. You can choose somebody else like Scald or Berezin or Hugin, or even an unknown if someone who might be more easily influenced. And if he says if you want to express a preference for a specific person, I can talk. I could take that back to the Archlector if anything. And then here is where Morovia's like, you know what would make me really happy, Glocta? He's like, I would like no king at all. I want every man made equal under the law, to have a say in the running of his own country and the choosing of his own leaders. No king and an elected closed council with no nobles. What do you think of that? And Glock is basically like, boy, you tripping.
Yeah, I love that. I like that Morovia says this, and it's like the way it's framed and the way Glock reacts, we're meant to be like, oh, what a stupid idea.
Yeah, that'll never happen.
That's so ridiculous, people having free thoughts and ideas. As if no one would ever, what man would ever want that? And everybody who's reading that book is more than likely living in a mostly, 50%, maybe less, Democrat. At least, it's everything's at least seen to be democratic, right? So we live in a quote unquote democratic society, and we're like, that seems unreasonable. Not a good sign for us. It's not a good sign.
Apparently not. Excuse me. So, he's like, Glockta's like, yeah, okay, well, obviously that's not gonna happen anytime soon. So what do you think? And he's like, strange times indeed, but sure, I will cast my votes along with the Archlector. Let him know we're gonna be okay. And then Glockta asks him on his way out, he's like, can I trust you? And then he's like, well, you can trust us to serve my interests just as I trust you to serve your own interests. No, our deal goes no further than that. He's like, I like you. You should find yourself a different master. And Glockta's like, I already got two. So, and then a bit of a time jump, and we're in Severod's house. The big one that he bought by the docks where they, interrogate and torture people.
The old torture house.
Old torture house with the room of the fall of the Maker and all that, or fall of Juvens or something. And they plop the prisoner right in front of the chair with the bag over his head. Glockta sits down. Severod's like, it wasn't so hard to find him. He was just hanging out.
He was just like wandering around. Yeah,
wandering around. It's cool. He's like, all right.
In fact, he came up to us and started telling us about all of his
little
amazing talents.
Yeah.
That'd be so funny if that was included.
Oh my god, yeah. And so then Glockta is like, all right, let's get on with it. They take off the bag, and apparently it's our boy, Brother Longfoot.
It's so unexpected, you completely forget about him.
And immediately, Glockta's like, your name is Brother Longfoot? And then he just starts rambling. He's like, indeed, of the noble order of navigators, I can assure you I am innocent. And he's just blah, 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 blah. And then Glockta grabs a hammer because he has a hammer, and he smashes it on the anvil because there's an anvil, and he's like, stop talking!
It's like oddly satisfying to see Brother Longfoot get the shut the fuck up because he talks so much.
And I know for a fact Glockta is like, this is usual. I want them to keep talking. What the fuck? He's like, do you know how much agony and pain I have to deal with every day? Do you think I want you to just talk my ear off, you fucking cocksucker? He's like, so basically he says, I basically want you to know that I have no issue whatsoever of just ruining your life. All right, in any way, if you can never walk again, if you can never shit again, if you can never eat again, whatever the case may be, I have no problem with it. So it means keep your answers brief and to the point. Do you understand? And he's like, he looks up at Frostle's like, gulp. He's like, I
understand.
But then he goes, He's like, do I make myself clear? And then he goes, I understand completely. I will not speak any other. And then Frost just just punches him in the gut. And Frost is like, see, for example, there you should have just said yes. So, and then he brings Brothers Longfoot's eyes to the anvil. He's like, yes, well, we don't have time to come up with something more imaginative. So, whatever. Your foot's on this anvil. It's manacled to this anvil. And then Glocka just has the little, hammer. And he's just like slowly like tapping his toes. Like, all right, we ready here? We ready?
I love this bit, and I think this is just coming from Joe as well, where he's like, I apologise for the lack of imagination, but in our defence, it's difficult to keep coming up with new stuff,
Oh, right. And I love, yeah, you're right. Because here, then he goes, smashing a man's foot with a lump hammer. It's so. And then Frost goes, Pythagorean.
Yeah.
And then Glock in his head, it's like, really should have been a comedian rather than a torturer.
Can you imagine him on the stage? Why did it thicken across the road?
So then I said, pedestrian.
So basically, he's like, I just want you to focus on my questions and this hammer and your toes. Alrighty? So, do you know? He's basically asking him about Baez and the fellowship, He's like, do you know Baez? He's like, yep, I know him. Until recently, he was my employer. He's like, okay. All right.
On the verge talking too much.
Yeah, he's like, okay, good. You went with him on a journey. He's like, yep, I was a guide. Okay, where'd you go? To the island of Shabulian. Shabulian. At the edge of the world. And he's like, come. The edge of the world? He's like, yep, I went there. I seen it. I stood on that island with my own 2 feet. He's like, okay, who was with you? He's like, Logan Nine Fingers. And he's like, I remember him. He's like, Pharaoh Maljan. He's like, uh-huh. Giselle Dan Luthor, that prick. Malachus Clyde, that dumbass. And then Baez himself. Okay. And 6 of you? Yep. All right. And then he goes, so why did you go over there? And he was like, nothing. It wasn't there. Baez said he was tricked. And he was like, what was it that he thought? And he's like, he said it was supposed to be a stone. And he's like, what? And he's like, yeah, a stone, a rock from the other side. Called it a seed. And then Baez was like, uh-oh.
I absolutely love this part from the perspective of Glocta. So we get this little reminder that there's something out there asking Glocta to find the seed, and now it's blatant that it's not just a dream. And in the same chapter, Glocta, who doesn't really know what the seed is, other than that one time he went to the Adeptus Historical and was like, hey, what is this thing? And he's like, I don't know, some kind of thing from the other side or something. I don't know.
What?
And then, what? And then he gets to this point, and this is the first time like Glocta has the instance of, oh my god, it actually is real. Like he's not just dreaming at all. Like I just love. I can totally hear like the music or like this shit, the tone shift as it like goes into Glocta's face, and Glocta like looks up, and it's like the room feels cold all of a sudden. Like I fucking just love the imagery of that. It's so cool.
Yeah, no,
it is cool.
Yeah, because now Glocta's gonna be like, wait, what if my dream scary lady knows I'm interviewing this guy and I don't get the information about the seed? Like he's probably just like, oh my god. So Glocta, he pushes on him a little bit. He's like, okay, well, what did he say about the seed? And then Longfoot's just like, I don't, just stories, weird shit, man. I don't know. And he's like, well, just try me. He's like, go ahead. He's like, shit about Glustrad and Alcus and taking forms and stealing faces, speaking to devils and the summoning of them about the other side. It's weird shit, man. And then he's like, what else? He's like, what else? And he's like digging the he just like dealt Longfoot's like toe a little firm tap, He's like, come on. He's like, okay. It's like the stuff was like, from the world below, that it was left over from the old time when demons walked the earth. It was a powerful weapon. He meant to use it against the Gurkish, against the prophet. And then Glocta's just like, huh. And then he's like, he asks him like, you didn't find it? And here his mouth is dry. Like he's like, you could.
He wants it.
I don't know if he wants it. He's just stressed the fuck out. He's like, oh, what the fuck is going on? and at the very least, that it could also maybe be compounded by he wants it. But I mean, my opinion, we don't really see that again later on,
Hmm.
like that desire for it.
That's true.
Um, and then he's like, "So okay, so what else happened?" He's like, "Well, then that was it. Then we just came back across the mountains. We made a raft, and we sailed the Great Eos, and we came back from Calcis, and I'm here before you now." And the Glock is like, there's more. Something. What are you not telling me? Come on." And he goes, "I have told you everything. I have no talent for disassembling."
Simply.
And he's like, "Okay, well, if your contract is ended, why are you still here?" And then Longfoot's like, because. And then Glock is like, "Dear me, oh no." And then just whack, and just crushes his big toe with the hammer on the anvil. And
I mean, I think he's annoying, but I don't think he deserved that.
yeah, no. Oh god. And then Glockta does the usual, like, "Oh, I know the feeling. You're gonna feel the wash of pain." He does that whole thing. And then he's like, "Should I?" He's like, "Will you ever walk again if I keep hitting? Let's find out. Shall I give you another?" And then Longfoot's like, "Wait, please God no. Please God no." And he's like, "Okay, it was the priest. A priest from the order. No, a priest came to the order, a Gurkish priest." And he's like, "One day the first of the Magi may come and ask for a little favor, for a little navigator to go on a little journey, and then they want to be told what happens afterwards." He made, this priest made terrible threats, etc., and that, Brother Longfoot he just told the other navigator who arrived in Adjua this morning. He just told him what happened, and Longfoot was about to leave too. And Glockta asked him for the name of the priest, and he kind of hesitates a little bit, and then he just grinds the hammer in the toe a little bit more. He's like, "Come on, the name, what's the name?" And he's like, "Oh God!" He's like, "It's Mamoon. His name was Mamoon, and now we know who that is. Mamoon,
Rice blessed and rice cursed.
First apprentice to the prophet himself." And then,
which is interesting. I like that because of history and to show he's educated, and also just because to show that these myths and stuff are some of them are just straight history. Is he know Glock already knows who this is?
well, he knows him from Yulwei. It says it right here.
Oh, you're right. I forgot about you.
Yeah, it says right here. It says Yulwei, who spoke of him in Dagaska. Yeah.
My bad. I forgot.
Slipping up, Adeptus, in your old age. And so then he goes, "What's Baez still doing here?" And he's like, "I don't know." He asks him a couple more questions. He's like, "I don't know. I told you everything." And he's like, come on, you gotta tell me." And he's like, "I only navigate. That's all I do. Please." And then Glockta's like, all right, I'm good. You're good. That's it." And then Longfoot's like, I could go." And then
Of course you can go. You can go back in your bag.
Well, what's even funny is like Severard starts laughing, and even Frost is kind of like, it's like, "Oh,
yeah,
no."
they're both just like giggling at him, and he's like, "Oh,
And then
poor brother Longfoot."
if there is a god, there is no pity in him, and that's where the chapter ends. How would you boys rate that chapter?
I like this one. I'm gonna give this one a 7.
Mm.
It's very well split up. I like how Joe's moving the plot with the whole succession forward.
Mm-hmm.
He's seeing how desperate their situation is with the Inquisition, because he's actually willing to give audience to fucking Morovia of all people.
Mm-hmm.
And then this with Brother Longfoot as well. We find out he's actually a fucking dirty spy the whole time. The little cunt.
I know. It's kind of awesome, actually.
So yeah, so 7.
Yeah, okay. I'll give it a 7 and a knuckle. It's a good length. Well paced. Different situations that our boy Glockta is in. It kind of reminds us of some, Glockta chapters of before, which we all loved.
Yeah.
His ability to, first of all, the dream. Come on, the dreams always are great. How funny are they? And also creepy though, and creepy. Let's be honest.
Yeah, surreal as fuck, man.
Mm-hmm. Then whenever he's around Salt, there's always that tension. where Salt, at any moment, Salt either is gonna praise Glocta or just make him like act out. He's just gonna blame him to be a bumbling fool or whatever. And then,
Yeah.
but we also love Goyle getting shitted on, right? Love that. And then we see a nice little conversation with him and Morovia. He's okay, well done, well done, well done. And then we have another torture scene. And we need to have a torture scene to be a quintessential Glocta chapter. So I'll give it a 7 and a knuckle.
Nice.
Well, thank you.
I think I'm gonna give it a 7 and a knuckle as well.
Oh, look at that!
Oh, yeah. Even though Jeffrey and I hardly ever agree on these chapters, it feels like.
Well, that's rude. That's a damn lie.
You were to say
That's
rude.
a damn lie.
You were about to say that's rude, and then you're like, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. Same reasons you guys said. I like that we're getting like Glockter's the one who came up with the idea of them working together. I always like it when a Glockter gets to show some, intelligence and showing what he can do. The Morovia conversation's interesting, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Mhm.
It's I didn't even think about this, George, but you're so right. There's like a meta joke in there with the torture scenes. And I don't know if it's the way Pacey reads him. But he sounds almost like bored during this scene. Like he's kind of tired of this. Like he's a little worn out, maybe from his dreams.
No, he's exhausted.
Yeah, he doesn't actually get interested until he mentions the seed.
Right.
Which that whole through of everything is really nice. Good plot. It's just I think it's one of the better Glockter chapters out there. I think honestly. It covers a lot of ground.
No, good point.
And it's always fun to see characters interacting that haven't previously met.
Oh yeah, until you got to this part, you didn't know you needed the interaction of Longfoot and Glocta.
Yeah.
Stop talking. And to your point, Harrison, yeah, Glocta's exhausted. Don't forget, he's like working around the clock with this whole election business.
True.
Yeah. Okay. Well done, boys. So let's move on to our final segment, which is our character spot. Take it away. I said take it away.
Okay, I'm going. I said take it away. Sorry, boss. Sorry. Okay. Our character spot is High Justice Morovia. I think we kind of all agreed that he was gonna be it. Kind of. Jeff wanted to do somebody else, but he has this revelation.
Are you single me out? Me and George did, you dick.
What? It was George's idea.
I relented. It was your idea. How dare you put this on me?
Don't put it on George.
Today's character spot was High Justice Morovia, which was totally 100% my idea. And I forced my co-host to agree with me at gunpoint.
It's gonna be Morovia, and you're gonna like it, boys.
He has this revelation to both the audience and to Glocta that he's like actually like
an anti-monarchist.
Yeah, I feel like you're kind of led to believe that maybe not as strongly as Joe intended, or maybe exactly as strongly as he intended. But like you made to believe that High Justice Morovia is like the other side of the coin for Arch-Lector Salt, which he is. But he's also not just some power-hungry guy. Like he genuinely wants people to make their own decisions and to be free, and he is actually fighting for justice in his mind. And actually, I think it's pretty noble why he is trying to do what he does. There's not saying that there's not other intentions there.
I always thought when I was reading this for the first time that Morovia was going to be a lot more important of a character than he ends up being.
I think so too. Like it definitely feels that way, which is I think probably part of the story, right?
Yeah, because you always end up with this like, sort of opposed, like Salt and Morovia, like you say, they're like the opposite side of the coin. They're diametrically opposed. So you'd think if Salt's important and to Glocta, then surely Morovia is going to end up being like a big issue at some point. But we don't really get that sense at all.
Mm-hmm. Right. And throughout the entire all the first 3 books, it's always been about Morovia against Salt, right? And so you think those are the 2 big players in Adjua as of this time. So I like how Joe kind of like plays with the expectations there, I guess,
Yeah. And it's like you said, Harrison, like Moravia genuinely does seem like he wants, a democracy of some sort. I mean, I don't think that word actually exists in the First Law universe, but
Filthy commoner.
yeah. So it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I like as well too that like Moravia when he talks to anybody, he's always like kind of like chill, like he's kind of checked out but not because he doesn't care, but he's checked out because he feels like his task he's given himself is like impossible. Like he's always like, especially the way Pacey reads him is like slightly bored, kind of, but he's like never condescending. He's always just like, oh yeah, this is how I like my meat. You want some? No? Okay. What is it you're here for? Oh, that? Okay. Yeah, sure. That sounds like a good idea. Oh, really? That's it? Yeah. I'm gonna act my own self-interest. But yeah, that sounds good. He's so chill.
He is extremely chill.
So chill.
Like even when he talks to like Giselle in the first book, he's like, "We should talk sometime." Walks away. But he's obviously not an idiot, which so I just like his addition to the story is almost unnecessary in terms it would be unnecessary, but it's also great that he isn't.
I also love the fact that Moravia never mentions Morrow again.
Yeah, I don't think he even mentions Morrow. I think he just says I lost an assistant.
Yeah, he says my. No, he said my secretary took an unexpected holiday, and I bet Glock was like. What else can be said about Moravia? I mean, he's a man of the people, chill, level-headed. He's a pragmatist, I guess we could say.
Mm-hmm.
He also said that. What is it? Oh, when he says that line about his secretary taking an all sudden holiday, I always took that as him being like passive aggressive because he's like, oh, you want to meet with me? Okay, well, it's gonna have to be on my terms, which is right here, right now at lunch while I eat meat. Can't because you killed my secretary. Maybe it would have worked out if you hadn't killed him.
Interesting.
I like that. I'd never thought about it.
Yeah, I didn't read it that way, but interesting. I like that.
Harrison coming at us with the insight.
Mm-hmm.
What's y'all? Call me the don't call me the Adeptus Historical. Call me the Adeptus Insightful. Yow!
I'm gonna slap him right through the computer screen. I swear.
Get in line.
Get in line. Oh man, that's a show, everyone. We want to thank you all for listening and supporting this podcast. As you all know, this is a passion project for the three of us, and your support really does mean a lot to us.
Join us next time as we cover Fortunes of War and the Kingmaker.
And make sure you follow us on social media. We're on Twitter, we're on Reddit, and we have a website at circleoftheworld.com.
And if you haven't already, please subscribe to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or any podcast app that you use. And please make sure to rate and review this podcast. Thank you all again for listening.
You should find another master.